We start with that breaking news from Niger, where at least 17 soldiers have been killed in an ambush. The military leadership says that its troops were attacked by an armed group near the Tillaberi region. It also said its forces killed several of the fighters. Ahmed Idris is in the Nigerian town of Katsina. That's near the border with Niger. Ahmed, this broke just a few moments ago. What do you know at this early stage?
Well, it's a continuation of the violence we see on the Niger, Mali and Niger-Burkina Faso border. This attack happened days after another one that killed several Nigerian soldiers on the border with Burkina Faso. So it looks like the whole thing is spreading faster. Now, that's one of the main concerns of security analysts in the region about the continuing growth of coups in the region. If you look at Mali and Burkina Faso, despite the presence of mercenaries like Wagner on their territory, they still continue to face attacks from these armed groups allied to Al-Qaeda and ISIL that have been operating in that region for a long time. And now with the current attack, this is the fifth attack, by the way, in less than 3 weeks since the coup in Niger Republic. And the more these continue to go on, the less credible the statement by the military authorities in Niger that they have overthrown Mohamed Bazoum simply because of the deteriorating security situation in Niger. So it's undermining their credibility as a force or as a unit or as a government to fight insecurity in the region. And that's the concern of many people. There are people, especially security analysts, who think that the continuing spread of coups in the region will embolden armed groups. And that is what we continue to see since the coup in Mali and then the coup in Burkina Faso as well. Now Niger is suffering the same fate.
Ahmed, it bears repeating this fundamental point that you made, that this latest coup, and it was the case with previous coups in Mali as well, this latest coup was justified officially on the premise that the now deposed president had not done a good job of fighting the insurgent groups. And as you rightly pointed out, there have been multiple attacks since the coup took place. Do we know if the junta has changed anything to its military readiness or to its tactics to effectively fight these insurgent groups?
I think rather than improve the security situation, it has even gotten worse. Remember, the Americans and the French have been training French forces, especially the Americans, but with the suspension of such partnership or agreements with the Nigerian forces, it makes life a lot more difficult. It will be difficult for Niger now to source for equipment, to source for the weaponry to deal with the rising cases of attacks by these armed groups in the Sahel. And then, of course, the concern is that Niger doesn't have enough resources to go and source these weapons or other technical advice outside the country. It may have to rely on countries like Mali and Burkina Faso for expertise and also support from the mercenary groups that have been operating in these two countries. But how much can they give? How long will that be? Simply because they too are facing a similar problem. They're trying as much as they can to rein in these attacks on their territory, and we don't see much progress in that regard. They continue to witness these, and I think what will happen in the next few months or so, if this coup survives it, will be public anger directed at the coup plotters in Niger Republic, because people will start questioning the credibility of their allegations that Bazoum has failed to rein in insecurity in that country, and it's happening to them. So basically, the reason for the coup, one of the main reasons of the coup, may have been completely eroded.
Ahmed, something else we want to ask you about. Niger's coup leaders have sent their newly appointed Prime Minister Ali Mahaman Lamine Zain to neighboring Chad for talks, and he met Chad's Prime Minister in N'Djamena. Niger's junta maintains that it's open to talks on solving regional disputes triggered by the coup 3 weeks ago. What can we make of this visit to Chad, Ahmed?
It could be two things. First, of course, is to pull more countries, more friends on the side of the military regime in Niamey. And secondly, also to sort of keep the hope that negotiations to end the crisis diplomatically is possible. Now, the Prime Minister is there. We are not sure exactly what message he took to President Idris Deby, Mohamed Idris Deby. But remember, Mohamed Idris Deby was the first envoy who tried to intervene, who tried to mediate between the coup plotters and the economic community of West African states to sort this one out or to sort the problem diplomatically, but they turned him back. Now, whether or not this is another rapprochement or another charm offensive by the authorities in Niger to try to draw Chad back into the fold of negotiations, or they're trying to keep as many friends as they can on their side as they face international pressure to restore Mohamed Bazoum to power, remains to be seen in the next few weeks or so.
And Ahmed Idris, thanks for all your reporting and putting vital context around all of this. That's Ahmed Idris reporting from Katsina.